Library on the Go, the move from traditional libraries to mobile libraries, presented by Emily Young. This presentation will cover several major topics. The first, why libraries need to go mobile. Then, what constitutes a mobile device will be defined. Next, I will discuss how to plan and implement mobile websites. I will give suggestions on how to deal with mobile databases. After, I will point out the major features of mobile applications. By the end of this presentation, you should know the key differences between mobile websites and mobile apps. You will also know several advantages and disadvantages to each. Finally, I will discuss how to take a virtual reference librarian from theory to practice. The majority of people in the world carry a mini computer on them at all times. Owning a smartphone is rapidly becoming the norm. According to the Technology Device Ownership of 2015 survey done by the Pew Research Center, almost 70% of adults in the United States own a smartphone. This number is higher among the 18 to 29 age group, with almost 90% of this group owning a smartphone device. It is forecasted that mobile devices will soon outnumber human beings. Todd Spires found that by the end of 2007, more than 3.25 billion people worldwide own a mobile device. By May 2008, there were 40 million active users of the mobile internet in the United States alone, according to Danielle Becker. According to Matt Ennis, smartphones, rather than traditional computers, are the primary internet access point for most people. More than half of internet users are more likely to use a smartphone or a tablet to access the internet. Elmore and Stevens write, quote, "Academic libraries cannot afford to ignore this growing trend. For many students, a mobile phone is no longer just a telephonic device, but a handheld information retrieval tool." End quote. The Pew Research Center found that 15% of Americans have limited access to the internet other than their phones. These people rely heavily on their mobile devices to access the web. A survey done by the EDUCAUSE Center for Applied Research reported that 51.2% of undergraduate students own a web-enabled handheld device. Mobile traffic has increased in size by 800% since 2000. A mobile device is most basically defined as any device a person uses on the go. Smartphones, tablets, netbooks, personal gaming devices, e-readers, and iPods are all examples of mobile devices. These devices are commonplace in all aspects of life, including school. A mobile device is portable and handheld. It is often web-enabled. All of these devices can be used for different tasks in the library. The first step to creating a mobile library is to know the patrons. Librarians and website developers need to know what the expectations of the users are. It is also important to understand why users are using their handheld devices to access library services. When deciding what type of mobile website to offer, librarians should target specific user groups such as students in professional programs or distance and field-based students. This will allow librarians to be informed before developing a mobile website. It is impossible to replicate the entire library website into a mobile version. It is important for librarians to know what information their patrons think is most important and highlight that information on the mobile site. The main goal of a website is to be clear and concise. Most studies agree on the basic information that should be offered on a library's mobile website. General library information such as hours of operations and direction should be easily found. Links to the catalog and mobile access to databases are all things that users have mentioned wanting on their library mobile device. A way to contact a librarian for reference questions is also becoming a necessary feature. Students are also interested in being able to check their personal circulation status, receive book recommendations, and receive notifications when materials are available or near their due date. Brendan Ryan points out several considerations for mobile design. Screen size is the largest variable to consider. It is not possible to design a site that is set up to each individual screen size. Designers should keep sites simple to make them appealing to users. Images should be basic and distinct. Color schemes need to be high contrast to account for users using their devices outside. Text should contain essential information and be legible. Designers and librarians need to keep in mind that users are looking to access information immediately. Information should be provided in the most simple way. Ryan also points out that streamlining clickstream is a major factor when developing mobile sites. Clickstream is the number of sites a user must access to get the desired information. By limiting clickstream, users' frustrations and costs will decrease. This also assists interaction with the library and encourages future use of the mobile site. Streamlining clickstream makes the site more valuable to users. A survey conducted by the University of Alberta in 2004 found that 75% of students wanted access to databases on their mobile library sites. Third-party vendors are most likely to be in charge of databases. Libraries must rely on these vendors to provide mobile access to their databases. Many vendors provide mobile-friendly interfaces. If a vendor does not provide a mobile-friendly interface to access databases, it is suggested by numerous authors that librarians encourage the vendor to do so. Libraries across the world are beginning to address the rapid growth of mobile internet users. Ennis writes, quote, according to a U.S. public academic K-12 libraries conducted this spring by app provider Boopsy, a subsidiary of Demco, almost 44% of libraries offer a mobile app, and an additional 21% plan to offer an app in the future, or already in the early stages of a launch. In most cases, a mobile application, or more simply, an app, allows users to complete the same task as a mobile website. However, using an app makes the user's experience much more seamless. One of the biggest reasons libraries are not using mobile apps is because of a lack of funds or expertise to purchase or create one. The cost to maintain an app can cost anywhere between $2,000 and $10,000. An app is designed specifically for devices and can only work on the device it is programmed for. For example, an iPhone app not be used on an Android device, or vice versa. Libraries would need to maintain multiple versions of their app, driving the cost up. Mobile apps are difficult to build because they require specific programming for each operating system. Mobile apps are burdensome to users because the user has to remember what the functionality of each menu item is. Applications can also often use more of the hardware of the device. Users can use their phone to scan ISBN numbers to search the catalog to see if their local library carries the book. One advantage of using the app opposed to a mobile website is profitability. The app can allow for greater exposure through app stores, thus creating more patrons. The mobile revolution is rapidly changing the way that libraries offer reference services. Students want to be able to text library staff reference questions. The easiest way for patrons to be able to interact with library staff is to maintain a separate mobile phone for staff to use. By implementing a mobile reference, librarians and staff members can take turns monitoring the mobile reference service while in their office or at other locations. Turnaround time is the most important aspect of a roaming reference. Staff should be able to answer questions in less than 10 minutes. In order to be successful, the library needs to be able to respond to questions rapidly. The service needs to be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The mobile digital era demands this. The mobile revolution has brought about one of the biggest changes in how people search for and receive information. In order to avoid becoming obsolete, libraries need to also change. The easiest way to do this is by going mobile. After understanding their patrons, librarians can decide whether a mobile website or mobile application is the best course to take. Studies agree that in either case, the information offered to users needs to be clear and concise. Library hours, directions, and staff contact information all needs to be offered. Some websites and apps have linked to databases and catalogs. This is burdensome when third-party vendors do not offer mobile versions of their catalogs or databases. If this is the case, librarians should urge vendors to create mobile-friendly systems. Studies also agree that patrons like having the option to text a librarian any reference questions they may run into. If offering this service, which is highly suggested, librarians and library staff need to be able to respond quickly and efficiently at all hours of the day. If a library uses a separate mobile phone for this service, the staff can rotate who is on call as the reference librarian. Libraries are no longer run in a traditional sense. In order to stay current, libraries and librarians need to change with their patrons. Going mobile is one of the easiest ways to stay current.